season before the World Cup. And that I think the winning teams in World Cups basically have the same team. We said this before, but watching, say, Match of the Day or any football, you will notice, I think you have said it before, that with Palace, and I'm sure with other teams in the Premier League, they're starting with basically the same team every week, every game. And that's, to me, it's such an obvious thing you have to do, injuries accepted, as
Yeah.
well as using subs at key points. Just if only to rest players if they've had a midweek European game or something like that. But it's so obvious, and I think every international tournament England get to, and maybe somebody with statistics will prove me wrong, but I just always get the feeling in the build-up, the 3 or 4 months, where the managers have a chance to get that team that he basically wants to play and let them play, so they get to know each other better. It
Mm.
doesn't happen. They still
No.
seem to be, oh, let's try that one and let's try him, and to see if they've got the right mental approach. And I don't think we'll ever win anything in the England men's team, if we adopt that. I'm hoping Tuchel will say, no, this is the team, this is my team. I've got 4 substitutes, who are 4 or 5, but 4 I basically will include as part of that setup, and that's what we're going to hopefully win the World Cup with. If he doesn't do that, I think he'll have the same fate as every other England manager, because they chop and change, in my opinion, far too much.
Mm.
So yeah, it's come back to your point. It's a good problem to have some great players, especially in the international setup, because you are allowed to select, I don't know, 18, 20, 22 players. But in another way, it must be frustrating for those who tag along and don't even get a few minutes on the pitch. And I know in the past there have been quite a few cases where a player eventually lets it be known he's retiring from international football. I think one was Jamie Vardy, very good
Mm.
footballer, as we know, great goal scorer. But there was a point where he was selected fairly repeatedly for international weekends, international matches, but never got a look in. And eventually he said, yeah, I'm not going to be included. And sometimes they can be criticised. Oh, they don't want to play for their country, which I think is a lot of nonsense. But if you sort of do all the right things, you go along, you get the idea, perhaps I'll get on this time, and you don't get picked, or you
Mm.
get a 5-minute substitute appearance,
Mm.
then you can really understand why players lose interest. So it's a difficult balance for a manager to get, and only they know how they can deal with it and how the players respond to that. But yeah, my hope is Tuchel absolutely does get his team in his mind, and they play and play and play in the build up to the World Cup, because sooner or later it'd be lovely if the men did win something. It's gone from 30 years of hurt to 40 years of hurt, 50 years, and we'll be singing songs in years to come, 70 or 80 years of hurt since we've won a competition. So let's hope he does get a team which is capable of doing it. The qualifiers, as I say, we always qualify. I don't know when the last time England didn't qualify for a competition. It's probably a long time ago, but they're never. We always have some pretty weak teams in our group, so it's almost inevitable we'll qualify. But once we get there, that's when we, as Roy Keane may say, that when we're up against it, maybe going a goal behind, that's when we'll show our mettle, show how good we are at coming back, even though we're losing. So, yeah, I really want to see a team that I think that's the England team. It's, in great teams in the past, or in recent past, in the Premier League, Man City, Liverpool, most of us who follow football or go to football could probably name most of last season's Liverpool winning Premier League team. Premier League team, and the Man City team over the last 3 or 4 years, 5 years, who've won we get to know the players because we see them on TV, we go and see them in playing games, as I do, and they get embedded in our minds. And that's what I want to see that for England. I think at the moment you turn the television on and I'm thinking, oh, who's that? What's his? And I haven't quite got his name because they're almost new faces. And I understand you want to give people a chance, but then to me, to not pick Adam Wharton for this,
Mm.
I'm very disappointed. He's a great player. He's playing great for his club, and yet he's been overlooked this time in favour of Loftus-Cheek, who's a very good player, but probably not the future. And again, we talked about this before, but I noticed Henderson, of course, came on last night.
Yeah, it did.
And I've got nothing but praise for him as a player at Liverpool and so on. But I don't think he's the future with England. And I don't see him as a starter for next year's World Cup. I don't. I think he's had his time. He's a bit older now. Great player in his day. Good luck to him. But I'm not sure why Tuchel is kind of turning the clock back, looking in his rear view mirror a bit and thinking, oh, yeah, we'll have him. Stick with the future, the players who are going to play in the future, because that's what they need to do, in my view.
Very true. Very, very valid points. We'll come back to England in a bit. So let's just look at this country called Cape Verde. The smallest country to qualify for the World Cup. 527,000 inhabitants. And they said in terms of square kilometers, 4,033. So, and they've qualified for the World Cup. And yeah, India is over 1 billion in population, and they haven't qualified.
No,
So
they very rarely do.
So anyway, well, you never know. They might get far in the in the competition.
You never know, do you? Because I mean, countries like Iceland don't have a very big population at all, but they
No,
did well, didn't they, in the recent
they did.
international tournaments? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, they did. Yeah. So well, we'll see how it goes with them. Now, um, Gon Gondoran. Is it
Yeah,
Gondoran?
Gondor. Yeah.
Gondoran. Ilkay Gondoran. It said anyone who doesn't see the